Good evening. Good evening. This is Lynette, and this is the 21st Century Watchman's channel. It's about time. It's about time. It's a one-year chronological Bible study where we go through the Bible in chronological order so that it makes sense. All right. Isaiah is the book that we're in today, and we're in chapters 13 through 17. This is pretty good. The pronouncement concerning Babylon, which Isaiah the son of Amoz said, "Lift up a flag on the bare hill. Raise your voice to them." So this is a judgment on Babylon. And them are the Medes and the Persians. So raise your voice to them. That's who's coming for you, Babylon. Wave the hand that they may enter the doors of the nobles. We're coming for the kings. We're coming to the palace. I have commanded my consecrated ones. Consecrated means the people that were set apart or chosen. He chose the Medes and the Persians to go and get Babylon. That's what he's saying. I have also called for my warriors who boast in my eminence to execute my anger. So and you would think, why is he saying this? He's not, saying this to the actual Babylonians. What he's doing is he's giving comfort to the Israelites who are like, what's going to happen to us? And he's forgotten about us and we're being persecuted. And even though they are paying for their sins, he's still their people. Just because there's grace doesn't mean there are not consequences. Just because there's forgiveness doesn't mean there's not consequences. He's going to forgive them if they repent, and they will. But there have to be consequences. People think that because there's, I can do whatever I want to with no consequences because there's grace. There are consequences. And so this is what's going on here. They turned against God and they're suffering. But he's letting them know through Isaiah that the people that have enslaved them, that have done things bad to them, are also going to be punished. God has not forgotten them. This is a moment of comfort because he's not speaking to the oppressors. He's talking about the oppressors and their judgment to the oppressed. A sound of a roar on the mountains, like that of many people, a sound of an uproar of kingdoms. There's going to be more than one coming for Babylon. Of nations gathered together. The Lord of armies is mustering the army for battle. This happened when the Persians and the Medes came. This prophecy happened 100 years at least, or almost 100 years before this actually happened. And so I would say, that there's this physical Babylon, and then there might be another one too. Let's go and see. They are coming from a distant country, from the farthest horizons, the Lord and the weapons of his indignation, to destroy the whole land. Wail, for the day of the Lord is near. The day of the Lord. Sounds like the kingdom of God is at hand. That has not happened. In fact, the day of the Lord is mentioned over 20 times in the Bible, and it really refers to a future date, an unknown time. And so that couldn't necessarily be this one. So Isaiah is alluding to both a physical time for Babylon here and then a spiritual Babylon, the spirit that drives Babylon, and that is Lucifer's situation. He is the one, and that's when he's going to get his comeuppance too. It's not just the what's going to happen to them physically right now in the now and now. This is what's going to happen in the by and by, long after these people pass on. All right, it will come as destruction from the Almighty. Therefore, all hands will fall limp, and every human heart will melt. They will be terrified. Pains and anguish will take hold of them. They will writhe like a woman in labor. Oh my gosh. They will look at one another in astonishment, their faces aflame. Now, I'm not saying, so I'm just this is what I'm getting from my, my scholarly work that I've done, just saying that it has to be too, because usually the day of the Lord is always alluding to what's going to happen later on. And the day of the Lord has not come yet. And because of that, that's the reason why I'm offering that he might be talking about two types of Babylon here. The one that's in the spirit realm, and the one when Jesus comes back for the final judgment, and also the one that's going to happen to these people as well. These are my thoughts. Behold, the day of the Lord is coming again, right? Cruel with fury and burning anger, to make the land a desolation, and he will exterminate its sinners from it. How's he going to do that? How's that usually happen? Because even if he got through these people, is he going to exterminate the sinners? No, that's not how this is happening. If the people are doing it, if the Medes and Persians, they're sinners too. So he's not going to exterminate the sinners through these people. I'm just saying. This is another spiritual Babylonian reference, in my opinion. That's talking about what's going to happen toward in the Revelation. And if you look at the John in chapters 18 and 19, the Revelation 18-19, you'll see that John is right on par with what Isaiah's prophecy is right here. We'll even go back, Jeremiah 50 and 51 also give a very similar prophecy, throwing it out there. For the stars of heaven and their constellations will not flash their light. The sun will be dark when it rises, and the moon will not shed its light. Sounds very familiar, right? So I will punish the world for its evil. The world, the whole world? Sounds like it. And the wicked for their wrongdoing. I will also put an end to the audacity of the proud, the things that the Lord hates, he cannot stand, and humiliate the arrogance of the tyrants. I will make mortal man scarcer than pure gold, and mankind than the gold of Ophir. Now, see, he's doing all this with this just one Babylonian situation. No, this is an overall thing. This is what's going to come to. This is what I see as the future. It's not just this one thing. These are just my thoughts. Therefore, I will make the heavens tremble, and the earth will be shaken from its place at the fury of the Lord of armies, Jehovah Sabaoth, in the day of his burning anger. And it will be that like a hunted gazelle, or like sheep with no one to gather them. Each of them will turn to his own people, and each of them will flee to his own land. Anyone who is found will be thrust through, killed, and anyone who is captured will fall by the sword. My. Their little ones also will be dashed to pieces before their eyes. Their houses will be plundered, and their wives raped. This is a bad time. Who wants to be here for this? Behold, I am going to stir up the Medes against them. Now we're back to the present time. Who will not value silver or take pleasure in gold, and their bows will mow down the young men. They will not even have compassion on the fruit of the womb. So a pregnant woman they don't care. They don't care. They're going for it. No sympathy, no empathy. Nor will their eye pity children. And Babylon, the beauty of kingdoms, because it was supposed to be really beautiful, the glory of the Chaldeans' pride will be as when God overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. Burn up, desolate, not to be built up again. And so that's not what you want. These are just my thoughts. So here are the Medes, and here's Babylon over here. They're coming all the way over here to get it. Babylon is already, you see all this purple? Babylon is a big empire. And they've conquered Judah and Jerusalem and all of that. So Israel and everything has been taken from them. And so they're over here, all this stuff. They're a superpower, right? And so the Medes are coming for them. They think they have it all together, but the Medes are coming for them. Let's keep going, shall we? It will never be inhabited or lived in from the generation to generation. Now, so let me say this about that. It's still not being lived in. It's not being lived in. Nor will the Arab pitch his tent there. They've tried to rebuild Babylon. Even Saddam Hussein built something, a stadium of sorts, but nobody's living there, even to this day. And there's talk about rebuilding Babylon. There is talk. And so if there's talking about rebuilding Babylon, and they're even, real talk, because of the fertile land and whatever, and doing things. There was an article in Jerusalem Today, a Jerusalem Post actually, and that in 2022, it said that there is, because of the richness of the culture and because of all of the great history, that there is a thought. It says the actual. I'm trying to make sure I say it right. The finance minister at the time in 2022 said, I'm going to quote this. I think rebuilding Babylon is a wonderful idea as long as it is not done at the expense of the antiquities themselves. He even added that a theme park built near Babylon to draw more tourists would be a good idea, as long as it's done outside of Babylon, away from the archaeological sites. They don't want to tear the things down, but their thoughts right now of rebuilding Babylon. So if God's talking about desecrating this place, that's more again alluding to the spirit that's behind Babylon, which alludes to Satan, who has been controlling all these bad people from the beginning, offering them things and the things of this world and them being accepting. That's ridiculous, but here we are. We've all been there. Some of us have just made a different decision, the right decision actually. So it says, nor will Arab pitch his tent there, nor will shepherds allow their flocks to lie down there. So it's not going to be a place. People are not living there. So it is still that, but there's some things. But desert creatures will lie down there, and their houses will be full of fowls. Ostriches also will live there, and shaggy goats will frolic there. Hyenas will howl in their fortified towers, and jackals in their luxurious palaces. Her fatal time also will soon come, and her days will not be prolonged. It's almost time. Isaiah 14, when the Lord has compassion on Jacob, so here we go again, and again chooses Israel and settles them on their own land, then strangers will join them and attach themselves to the house of Jacob. So there's going to come a time when people will come and that he's going to have compassion on them once again, forgive them once again, and that other people that will see will attach themselves. Gentiles, can I say that? The people will take them along and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel will make them their own possession in the land of the Lord as male and female servants. And they will take their captors captive and will rule over their oppressors. So they're going to take those people captive. That's what it says. It's going to come a time. And it will be on the day when the Lord gives you rest from your hardship, your turmoil, and from the harsh service in which you have been enslaved, that you will take up this taunt against the king of Babylon and say, how the oppressor has ceased and how the onslaught has ceased. Tired of the pressure. Tired of the pressure. The Lord has broken the staff of the wicked, the scepter of rulers, which he used to strike the peoples in fury with unceasing strokes. They're taunting them. Which subdued the nations in anger with unrestrained persecution. The whole earth is at rest and is quiet. When is that going to happen? When Jesus comes back. These are just my thoughts. They break forth into shouts of joy. Yes, they will. Even the juniper trees rejoice over you, and the cedars of Lebanon saying, since you have been laid low, no tree cutter comes up against us. So even the trees going to cry out because they were just tired. They're tired of this spirit of the enemy, this Satan, Lucifer, tired of it. And it's a lot. It's very oppressive. Sheol below is excited about you. So remember, that's the temporary space for the dead, until, Jesus comes back and makes the judgment day. But that's Sheol, to meet you when you come. Sheol below is excited. In some versions they say hell, but Sheol and hell are not necessarily synonymous. It stirs the spirits of the dead for you, all the leaders of the earth. It raises all the kings of the nations from their thrones. They will all respond and say to you, even you have become weak as we. Oh, they waiting. You have become like us. Your pride and the music of your harps have been brought down to Sheol. Okay, that was the problem with Satan, right? Lucifer. He had a lot of pride. The Lord does not like a proud look. Remember, he didn't like that. Maggots are spread out as your bed beneath you, and worms are your covering. Maggots and worms. Can it get more graphic, Isaiah? I'm just saying, though. How you have fallen from heaven. You star of the morning. That's what they called him, son of the dawn. Okay? He was bright, and that's the reason why he can come as an angel of light, because some of the adjectives that were used, Jesus is the bright and morning star. These very similar adjectives used for Satan, or Lucifer. So here we are, this is why he can come as an angel of light, because he's got that brightness for him, right? Not the real light, but he's got a little bit of light. You have been cut down to the earth. You've been relegated to here, homeboy. You who defeated the nations, But you said in your heart, I will ascend to heaven. I will raise my throne above the stars of God. Boy, you was doing way too much. See what pride will do for you? And I will sit on the mount of assembly in the recesses of the north. So as far north as you can go up, that's where he was planning on sitting, way above the Lord. He sit above the Lord, the creator, the God that created you. Bro, what was you thinking? See what power will do? See what glory will do? When you get souped up on yourself, you get convinced, right? You know, there's this little meme you hear all the time, you know, in a lot of little TikTok videos. She don't need no music. You better hype your bestie up. He's all hyped up by his little besties, these little fallen angels. He got real hyped up real quick. He need to calm it all the way down. All right. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will make myself like the Most High. Not a good thing. That was, remember Eve? Looking for, we will be like God. That's what he told her. You'll be like him. He's afraid you'll be like him. The same thing that took me in is what took me out is what's going to take you out. And that's exactly what happened. Nevertheless, you will be brought down to Sheol, to the recesses of the pit. You'll be down there. Those who see you will stare at you. They will closely examine you, saying, is this the man who made the earth tremble? Who shook kingdoms? Who made the world like a wilderness and overthrew its cities? Who did not allow his prisoners to go home? All the kings of the nations lie in glory, each in his own tomb. But you have been hurled out of your tomb like a rejected branch, clothed with those killed who have been pierced with the sword, who go down to the stones of the pit like a trampled corpse. So he's going down. That's what they're saying. That's what this Isaiah is saying, and the Lord's giving him vision. You will not be united with them in burial, because you have ruined your country. You have killed your people. May the descendants of evildoers never be mentioned. Wow. You won't have a name. You're just lost. And nobody's gonna ever remember who you are. To go through life and nobody remember what you did or who you are. Prepare a place of slaughter for his sons because of the wrongdoings of their fathers. They must not arise and take possession of the earth and fill the surface of the world with cities. They must not do it anymore. You're done. I will rise up against them, declares the Lord of armies, and eliminate from Babylon the name and survivors, offspring, and descendants, declares the Lord. I will also make it the property of the hedgehog and swamps of water, and I will sweep it away with the broom of destruction, declares the Lord of armies. That's not going to happen anymore. We're not going to have, the Babylon will never be what it was. And I don't care if Saddam Hussein or anybody else who's doing it. We know he's no longer alive, but nobody's going to do this. Babylon's done. The physical one, as well as the spiritual one. That's to be foretold, but that's being foretold through Isaiah here, but that's not going to happen. It's over. The Lord of armies has sworn, saying, certainly just as I have intended, so it has happened, and just as I have planned, so it will stand. So let it be written, so let it be done. I said it, that's what is going to happen. Because he created the world with his mouth. He's doing the same thing with this. I'm tearing this down with mine. To break Assyria in my land, I will trample him on my mountains. Then his yoke will be removed from them, and his burden removed from their shoulders. This is the plan devised against the entire earth, and this is the hand that is stretched out against, against the entire earth. And this is the hand that is stretched out against all the nations. Here we go. For the Lord of armies has planned, and who can frustrate it? And as for his stretched out hand, who can turn it back? Nobody can do anything with God. Once he makes his mind up, it's over. It's a done deal, right? In the year that King Ahaz died, this pronouncement came. Do not rejoice, Philistia, all of you, because the rod that struck you is broken. Don't be just because they're having problems. Don't you get excited. For from the serpent's root a viper will come out, and its fruit will be a winged serpent. Those who are the most helpless will eat, and the poor will lie down in security. I will kill your root with famine, and it will kill your survivors. I will kill your root with famine. I'm gonna make sure you guys go, and it will kill your survivors. How about that? The famine's gonna kill the survivors. He's not playing. So don't you get excited over there, Philistia. I got something for you too. Wail, you gate, cry, you city, melt away, Philistia, all of you, for smoke comes from the north, and there is no stranger in his ranks. What answer will one give the messengers of the nation? That the Lord has founded Zion, and the poor of his people will take refuge in it. Wow. First, in chapter 15, the pronouncement against concerning Moab. Certainly in a night, Ar of Moab is devastated and ruined. In a night. He did it quickly, suddenly. Certainly in a night, Kir of Moab is devastated and ruined. This happened within 3 years, by the way. 3 years. The people, and Moab was doing the doggone thing, because they were taking steadily from Israel. They were always fighting Israel, even though the Lord told Israel, through Moses, not to bother Moab because of the relationship between Abraham and Lot. And remember, Lot was the father of Moab. They still came for Israel all the time. They didn't stop coming. The people have gone up to the temple and to Dibon, to the high places to weep. Moab wails over Nebo and Medeba. See, here we go. Here's Nebo right here, and here's Medeba. Moab's crying over them because they're losing stuff now. Everyone's head is bald and every beard is cut off. Yeah, because they're shamed. That's what happens. They messed up. They are in a pitiful state now because they've been ashamed and they've been embarrassed in front of everybody because what they had before, they don't have anymore. In their streets, they have put on sackcloth, of course. They're mourning. On their housetops and in their public squares, everyone is wailing, overcome with weeping. They are yelling out. There is no look like end in sight for their trouble. Heshbon and Eliah, it's Eliale, also cried out. Their voice is heard all the way to Jahaz. Therefore the armed men of Moab cry aloud. His soul trembles within him. My heart cries out for Moab. His fugitives are as far as Zoar and Egleth Shalishia. Here we go. Shalishia. There we go. For they go up the ascent of Luhith weeping. So here we go. We've got the Eliale, and we've got we had we talked about Nebo and Medeba be here, but here's Eliale, so you can see where things are. These people are crying all the way up here. They're all through Moab. They're having some issues here. Indeed, on the road of Horonaim, they raise a cry of distress over their collapse. Oh, they are very upset, as they should be, right? For the waters of Nimrim are desolate. It's a shame. Indeed, the grass is withered and the new growth has died. There is no greenery. Their waters have dried up. Their source of nourishment, as far as water is concerned, has dried up, and there is no greenery. It's going to be a famine. It's no good for them. Moabites are over. And by the way, it mentions here, his fugitives are as far as Zoar. Isn't that crazy? Because that's the place where Lot and his daughter incestuously conceived Moab, by the way. How ironic that the Lord is leading them back. I mean, well, the fugitives are going as far back there to where their sin and the beginning, how the Moabs or Moabites became or came to be. He's leading them as far back as that. Wow, the God and the irony and the way he spoke through Isaiah is just uncanny. Therefore, the abundance which they have acquired and stored up, they carry it off over the brook of Arabim. They're taking their stuff on their back. They're homeless. It's done. For the cry of distress has gone around the territory of Moab. Its wailing goes as far as Eglon, and its howling to Beer Elim. For the waters of Daman are full of blood. I will certainly bring added woes upon Daman. Wow. A lion upon the fugitives of Moab and the remnant of the land. I'm going to bring more stuff. They're not going to escape the stuff. So anybody that's left is going to get eaten. A lion upon the fugitives of Moab. People that they're not gonna. It's over for the Moabites, for the most part. Chapter 16. Send the tribute lamb to the ruler of the land, from Selah by way of the wilderness to the mountain of the daughter of Zion. Then, like fluttering birds or scattered nestlings, the daughters of Moab will be eating at the crossing places of the Arnon. I'm going to say this again. This word was given to the Israelites because these are the people that took from them, and that they had even in their exile and even in their captivity, God sent them a comforting word. These people are going to be taken care of. We need to look at our situations and look to the word for comfort when we're going through. He sent them a word. They didn't have the Bible like we do, and they didn't, whether it be on an electronic device or whether it be a paper Bible or whatever it is. They didn't have an audio recording. They didn't have it the way we do. All they had was the prophet. All that, and whatever scrolls they might have written down. And some of them were not literate enough to do all of that. But he sent them something to encourage them, to make them feel, nourish their spirits. That's what this does. And so, again, Isaiah wasn't there. He was, a prophet to Judah. He was not a prophet to the other group, to the Babylonians or to the Moabites. He's a prophet to them, and he's letting them know this is what's going to happen. And this is crazy that, we're not seeing how we need to have a word for ourselves when things are going wrong. How important it is to know that our enemies will be taken care of, and that no weapon formed against you will prosper, and that he will make your enemies your footstool. That's David comforted himself like that all the time. He wrote his own psalms because he knew what the Lord was doing. And so when you're going through, you need to hear this. And even though they were being punished, he still sent them a comforting word. What a loving God we have. What a loving God we have. Even when we spank our own children or we punish them, we still let them know we love them and that things are going to be better. They may be on punishment today, but tomorrow is a brighter day. And whatever happened, whoever did something to you, they're going to get theirs. They're going to get theirs. And that's what they're saying, what he's saying here. And this is wonderful. What a loving God. Give us advice. Make a decision. Cast your shadow like night at high noon. Hide the outcast. Do not betray the fugitive. So he's telling them to take care of Moab because he still has a heart for him. God doesn't change. The Lord is steady. He changeth not. He told the Israelites, even though they didn't do right by them, he told them not to be nice to the Moabites. So he's telling them to hide the outcast because somebody else is coming to take them over. He wants them to hide them, and don't let the captors have them. What a loving God. I'm on the strength of Abraham and his relationship with Lot. I'm doing this for you, even though you've dogged my people out time and time and time again. This is God. This is our God. What a mighty God we serve. What a compassionate God we serve. What a loving God we serve. Let the outcast of Moab stay with you. Be a hiding place to them from the destroyer. For the oppressor has come to an end. Desecration has ceased. Oppressors have been removed from the land. See? A throne will be established in faithfulness, and a judge will sit on its trustworthiness in the tent of David. Sounds like Jesus. Moreover, he will seek justice and be prompt in righteousness. We have heard of the pride of Moab and excessive pride, even of his arrogance, pride, and fury. His idle boasts are false. Therefore Moab will wail. Everyone of Moab will wail. You will moan for the raisin cakes of Kir-Hareseth. It's Kir-Hareseth. And as those who are utterly stricken. So we're going to moan for them too. That's how bad it's going to be for Moab. You guys are going to be moaning. We're going to be out here moaning for them. Oh man, what? We're going to be like that. For the fields of Heshbon have withered, the vines of Sibmah as well. All of that is gone. You see Sibmah and you see Heshbon, Sibmah and Heshbon right here on this map. We're gonna work this map right here. This map's gonna be worked today. The lords of the nations have trampled down its choice clusters, which reached as far as Jazer and wandered to the deserts. The perils spread themselves out and passed over the sea. Wow. It looks like, I'm sorry, its tendrils spread themselves out and passed over the sea. That's how bad it is. These are my thoughts. Therefore, I will weep bitterly for Jazer, for the vine of Sibmah, or Sibmah. I will drench you with my tears, Heshbon and Elileh. I'm going there. For the shouting over your summer fruits and your harvest has fallen away. You have nothing to brag about. All your stuff is gone. Gladness and joy are taken away from the fruitful field. In the vineyards also there will be no cries of joy or jubilant shouting. It's done. It's done. Because you used to be really proud of all your little stuff that you had. How you was on Yo MTV Cribs with your stuff. And no. Cribs is not working for you anymore. You're more like a crypt, my friend. So sorry. No treader treads out wine in the presses, for I have made the shouting to cease. Therefore my inner being sounds like a harp for Moab, and my heart for Kir Hareseth. Unfortunately. So it will come out about when Moab presents himself, when he tires himself upon his high place and comes to his sanctuary to pray, that he will not prevail. He will not prevail. We're in a prayer, even. I won't be hearing it. This is the word which the Lord spoke earlier concerning Moab. But now the Lord has spoken, saying, within 3 years, as a hired worker would count them, the glory of Moab will become contemptible along with all his great population, and his remnant will be very small and impotent. Within 3 years. 3. See how God is with that 3? 3. Isaiah 17. Here we go. The pronouncement concerning Damascus. Behold, Damascus is about to be removed from being a city and will become a fallen ruin. See Damascus up here? Damascus is about to be moved. Not okay, Damascus. I'm going to move myself over, and Damascus is about to be moved. Part of Syria, Damascus is about to go. The cities of Aurora are abandoned. They will be for herds to lie down in, and there will be no one to frighten them. The fortified city will disappear from Ephraim, and he uses Ephraim a lot because Ephraim was the largest tribe in Israel. So that's the reason why that tribe is always mentioned, because it was the one that had the most land. So that, it was the land of them, but it represents Israel. And sovereignty from Damascus and the remnant of Aram or Aram, they will be like the glory of the sons of Israel, declares the Lord of armies. Now on that day, the glory of Jacob will fade, and the fatness of his flesh will become lean. Getting ready to lose some stuff. That's usually the thing. It will be like the reaper gathering the standing grain as his arm harvests the ears, or it will be like one gleaning ears of grain in the valley of Rephaim. Yet gleanings will be left in it like the shaking of an olive tree. There will be some stuff left there. 2 or 3 olives on the topmost branch. 4 or 5 on the branches of a fruitful tree, declares the Lord, the God of Israel. On that day will look to his maker. On that day, man's going to look to his maker. On that day. And his eyes will look to the Holy One of Israel. And he will not look to the altars, the work of his hands. Nor will he look to that which his fingers have made, even the Asherim and the incense altars. They're going to stop looking to what they've done. They're going to stop looking and seeing, I can keep doing it myself. Sometimes we just work ourselves to the point where we're like, I can do it. What else can I do? He said, you're going to stop doing this. They're going to stop doing that and stop praying to other gods and looking to somebody else to save them. And they're going to look to the Holy One of Israel. On that day, their strong cities will be like abandoned places in the forests, or like branches which they abandoned before the sons of Israel, and the land will be a desolation. For you have forgotten the God of your salvation, and have not remembered the rock of your refuge. Therefore you plant delightful plants, and set them with vine shoots of a strange God. On the day that you plant it, you carefully fence it in, and in the morning you bring your seed to blossom, but the harvest will flee. On a day of illness and incurable pain. Oh, the uproar of many peoples who roar like the roaring of the seas. It's coming. And the rumbling of nations who rush on like rumbling of mighty waters. The nations rumble on like the rumbling of many waters, but he will rebuke them, and they will flee far away, and be chased like chaff on the mountains before the wind, or like whirling dust before a gale. This is what's going to happen to Damascus. At evening time, behold, there is terror. Before morning they are gone. They will be the fate, or this will be the fate of those who plunder us, and the lot of those who pillage us. This is what's gonna happen. This is the fate. You're gonna get yours because you did this to us. What did you think was gonna happen? You still touch, even though that we didn't do right and God allowed us to go into your hands. You didn't do right by us. What did you think was gonna happen? Touch not God's anointed. Be comforted to know that your people that have oppressed you will get theirs. All right. If you're not a part of the fold, the group that is going to be blessed of the Lord, then I invite you to say this prayer. And if you are in disobedience at this point in your life, and you want to say this prayer, like I've been saying, repenting every time I listen to these messages on these prophets, then I would encourage you to say this prayer with me as well. Father, it is written in your word that if I confess with my mouth that Jesus is Lord and believe in my heart that you have raised him from the dead, I shall be saved. Therefore, Father, I confess that Jesus is my Lord. I make him Lord of my life right now. I believe in my heart that you raised Jesus from the dead, and I renounce my past life with Satan and close the door to any of his devices. I thank you for forgiving me of all my sin. Jesus is my Lord, and I'm a new creation. Old things have passed away. Now all things become new. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. If you've said this prayer with me, God bless you. And if you said it and you need salvation, and you needed salvation, welcome to the fold. Welcome to the family of God. And if you said this prayer and you are in need of a church home and you don't have one in your area, put your name and your city in the chat, and I will get back with you, or someone from the staff will get back with you, because we have members all over the United States, and we'll be able to direct you to a church home in your area that will love on you, that will be Bible teaching, Bible believing, and cultivating to make sure that you are the person that you're supposed to be and that your gifting is highly honed so you can go do the work of the Lord. And last but not least, if you are in disobedience or were in disobedience, we're rejoicing with you. Know that. Put your name in the chat. We'll be praying for you constantly. And if you need anything, please put your needs in the chat. We'll be praying over those as well. God bless you. God keep you. It is about time. And we hope to see you tomorrow.